Hello guys. Today it's Washington here. Today we are going to be actually doing something really nice, and it's going to be modeling a lamp, basic lamp, and after that texturing and baking it. Okay. For baking, I'm gonna use the add-on Easy Bake because it's gonna make my life easier. Okay. And if you are really into baking, you should check it out because that's really a safe time in terms of baking in Blender. Okay, so for the sake of modeling, first of all, I'm gonna create a single vertex. Okay, and in single vertex, I'll press 1 to make sure that I have the vertex selected, and press E so I extrude. Now I have a single edge. Okay, why I modeled like this? Because I'm gonna be using also my geometry node tools, which are called Easy Component. Okay, these will be available soon in a Blender Market for a minor price, but that's very handy because it allows you to create some geometry, some modeling for certain kind of geometry in an easier way. Okay, because you have some tools that you don't need to go over some aspect of modeling that can be bothered if I have repetition uh, tasks that is repeated all over the process. Okay, so now I have just an edge here, and I'm gonna drag and drop my easy component here, so you can see you have just a tube. Okay, and those are the options. For in this case, I'm gonna be very economic in terms of geometry here. Okay, because I want to have something that it's gonna have more space in my canvas, in my UVW for baking. Okay, so in this case I'm not gonna fill this, but I could, if I wanted, I could just fill the gaps like doing this. Okay, so let's go for the radius and do something like this. Okay, and in this case I'm gonna have something like this. Okay, and for this guy I'm gonna use it the this option here, which is filled. Okay, I'm gonna fill the curve. Okay, and I'm gonna set it up the amount of divisions here, something like this. Let me just see the wireframe. By the way, those are Q, pressing Q, but the wireframe here is here because I set it up by going here and going no, here and going into wireframe and putting this on my quick favorites. Okay, that's why every time I don't need to go here, just press Q and choose wireframe here. Okay, so yeah, let us maybe figure out that this will be maybe go to an game engine like Unreal. Okay, so I don't need that many uh, divisions, that much divisions here for the tube. Okay, so 32 maybe is too much. I'll give it 16. No, 16. That's enough for me, and it's half of geometry. Okay, just always think on that. Okay, and now I need a base here. For the base, I'm gonna just add a component 1, which is adding 2 components, but I just need 1. So I just need 1 here. Okay, and I can flip the alignment so it goes to the base, and now I just scale it. Okay, down something like this. But for this component I may want it to go up a little bit. I can go here translating Z, or I can go here in cranking the start. I'm gonna crank the start to something like here, more or less. Then I scale them down a little bit more, so I have some nice bass, okay? And now I will have to add another component. Maybe this bass can be useful for, oh, maybe I can use two components on this. Just thinking on now, so I have the other one here. That may be useful for me because I'm thinking on doing something like, maybe something like this. Interesting. Okay, yeah, maybe something like this. Okay, let's do this. Right? Interesting. Or maybe something like this and something like this. Okay, so I have a little bit of more control. By the way, this is just the edge, right? That what I'm doing is just I'm modeling the edge, and the geometry nodes is doing the rest. Okay, okay, that's cool. That's cool. Let's add another component, right? Component 2. It's gonna do the same thing as before, but this time I would add my base. So I'll align it down, and I would scale them down, right? And I will scale them on Z, so it gets bigger, right? But this time I want to have a scale from extremity. So maybe A, no, B, okay, something like that, something like that. So let's scale them a little bit like this, okay? And we can always scale them something like that, okay? And we have this, we will do the same thing that we did before. We crank it up from the start, put in something like this, okay? Now we have this shape, and we are gonna add the same thing here for the top of the lamp, okay? And let's do that. So we will add another component, component 3, to the game, and set up just to be one component, the same thing, but this time we're gonna leave it like this, and we will crank this down, okay, something like this, okay, and the same thing, Z, okay, and this time we will manage to push them on Z direction, not the extremity, because I need this to be here, okay? And then we will also adjust the extremity scale, not A, oh, but maybe, no, not A, B, okay, B. So then we will do something like this, okay, if that makes sense, right? And now we need to delete these guys, so we will delete it. Delete face, we will delete A or delete B. It's gonna be B, okay? And we will kind of extrude it to have some thickness here, okay? Let's extrude it, okay? Extrude it on which direction this works? Yeah, this way works, okay? This may works. A little bit of thickness, something like this. It's okay. Okay, and now we will need our lamp here, and our lamp will be another component, which will be component 4. Okay, something like this. But this time I'm gonna add a sphere, okay, not a cylinder. Okay, I'm gonna add a sphere, and for this sphere I don't need that many segments, maybe something like this, because it's gonna be kind of hiding it. Maybe something like this. Okay, and we just need one as well. Now we will scale it down, something like this. Okay, something like this, and let's, for the sake of this tutorial here, let's do this, and then we will kind of scale into Z direction to be kind of more like a lamp, and let's bring them up, something like this. Okay, something like this, right? Now we have our lamp, we have boop. Let's reduce a little bit more. Okay, how does that sound? Good. Okay, for the sake of this project, I think that's something it's missing here. Maybe we would need something to make the base look nicer. Okay, so in this case I'm gonna add another component, which will be component 5. Okay, component 5, and in this component I will add a cylinder as well, and I will leave it just one flip direction, scale them down, something like this. Okay, scale them on Z, something like this. Okay, and move it up. I would move it up like this. Okay, okay, that sounds good for us. So we had modeled the lamp. Now we just need to add the materials for the lamp. So I want to have three materials for the lamp. Let's make it 3 materials. Okay, one for the body, and maybe a base have a second one. This guy have another one, and then we will have the lamp another one. Okay, so let's add a new material for the body. Okay, head, I don't know how it calls this, and the lamp. Okay, and yeah, that sounds good. Okay, that sounds good. So maybe one for the base. Okay, let's do one for the base. Okay, base, body, head, lamp, and base. Okay, for the base, let's, just for the sake of visualization, okay, let's add some oh, not surface, sorry, it's viewport display. That's for the sake of a viewport display. This one can be this one can be that, and this one can be those. Okay, so now if we have here the textures, so we should see what the viewport, what the shader in the viewport means, it look like. But you don't see that because there's no material applied to anything. First, let's apply a material for the main, which is going to be body. Okay, body. Let's add a material for the components, the immediate components, these two. Let's also add a body. Okay, base. Let's add a component for the base. Let's add a base. No, that's the head, so let's go and move it to head component. This one will be the base. No, that's the lamp. Okay, the lamp. Okay, and the fifth one will be the base. Okay, what about this one? This one here, we didn't add anything. Okay, second one will be base as well. Base. Okay, so now that's our basic material on these guys. Okay, so you can try to add a bevel here, but it's not gonna be as good as it should be. I'm waiting for the bevel node, okay, to have some proper bevel. Yeah, I prefer to add my bevel on the modifier level, which is here. Okay, I can bring a bevel option, and I have my bevel now. Okay, and for this bevel I will say okay, that's fine, right? That's okay. So what I will do is I will convert that. Before I convert that, let's just copy, just in case. Okay, now let's convert it into mesh. So now this is a mesh. Okay, so I can add it and do anything. And the first thing that I will do is I will select everything, and I would add U, simply like Smart UV project. Okay, let's bring this guy here and go to UV. So those are my UVs. That's okay. I don't need to add any UV. I think that's fine for these guys. Okay, it's not gonna be that much detail. So I may need just a 2K texture for it looks good. Okay, so now let's go texturing. For texturing, I will do I will render this, okay, but use the default light, okay, on cycles. So now I can see what's going on, and now let's work on the materials. It always create this empty material, just delete it. Okay, now let's go to my body material. Okay, and then that it comes my node, which is will also be available in Gumroad and Blender Market. And please guys, if you want to buy some of my tools and you have both accounts, go to Gumroad, because Gumroad it pays way more to us. That's why we can lower the price in Gumroad. So most of my tools are cheaper in Gumroad than in Blender Market. Just keep aware of that. Okay, so now let's go to this guy here, which is basically a node. Okay, and what this node does is basically create some surface. Okay, let's bring it to here, and also to here. Okay, and specular to here, right? So nothing changed. Okay, nothing fancy is going on, but the thing is, now we can play around with a couple things. Okay, for example, now you see you have a connection here going on. That is because of your normal, you have bevel edges. Okay, so if you turn it to 0, it's gonna be like before. Okay, but that's a fake. That's something that is fake on the geometry. So I may want that, I may not. In this case, I'm not gonna do that. Maybe just a little bit, and see how it goes. You see, that's interesting. That simulates a bevel, which is not a bevel, but it simulates it. Maybe I want to do that more, a little bit more intense, something like this. Okay, which is cool, right? And what is the rest? The rest, it's something that you may want to do. Okay, so diffuse 1 and 2 is the blending between this guy and the other guy. Okay, the metallic option is here, so you can add this, turn this into more metallic or not. The roughness, the same thing. Okay, you may want it to be more roughness. You may want this to be more rough. Okay, So, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm gonna create something old, okay, something old. In this case, I'm gonna play around with the masks down here, okay. First of all, this mask here, right, the diffuse one, okay. I will play around with this mask here. So I will kind of add something here, right? Something that will blend between these two diffuse materials here. So I'm gonna create something more like this, okay? And that will also create the normals, okay? But I don't want to create the normal. That's gonna be what's gonna base my normal here. I don't want to have that much bump, so I will kind of just add a little bit and not too much, okay. So you can see here what's going on, okay, something like this, right? That's okay. And for this painting, okay, for the mask scales, we can scale the mask up, which I think it's proper to scale it up. And also I'm gonna add I'm gonna go to my metallic also, and we'll start to mix, because this will mix the mask texture, okay. The same for the roughness, okay, the same for the roughness. So I want to mix them a little bit, right? And for the specular, I'm gonna have them all specular just like this, okay. And we can see that it's not that much metallic, the surface is not that much metallic, so let's bring it to more metallic as it's possible, okay, because I want this to be a metal, okay. So let's close all of this and work on the diffuse level just a little bit. I want this to be very sorrow, okay, very sorrow, just like that, right? What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take this guy, which is this one, okay, and I will add my edge, okay. What my edge does, my edge will basically create imperfections, okay. That's gonna create some imperfections, and I will play around with the noise of it, okay, scratches, okay, something like this, the noise into something like this, okay. And that's the edge material, the edge texture, okay. So that can be anything. In this case, I will add a kind of rust, okay. Let me do this. I will just add a rusty texture here, okay. Metal, we may have a rust, something like this, okay. That's okay. And I will scale the diffuse, okay. I will scale this in here, okay, something like this, right? So now we are having something, and I'm gonna copy this guy, Ctrl C, then I'm going to my base, which is this one, and I will add them here and just bring my textures here down below, okay. Now I have my base here, which is kind of cool, but in the case of my base I want a different color, so I will take my first color, which it will be this one, and I will do something more like maybe this, okay, something more like this. And the bump, I will push it a bit more, the bump, okay, so we will have something like this, but I will invert the bump, so it's gonna be more like this, okay. And I will also figure out something just like that, and maybe a little bit greener down, right, and this guy pushing down onto something like this, okay. That's my base for my lamp, okay. And I also want to add maybe that base could be bluish or yellowish. I just want to add a little bit of more contrast, okay. Maybe I will try this one, okay. Oh no, this will be this one, and this one will be something more like this, okay. And this one will be something more like that, and this will be something more, maybe more like this, okay. But I don't want that much different, okay. Maybe something like this, and a little bit of a different tonality, maybe something like this, okay, but in a different tonality, maybe something like that, okay. All right, something like this. But in this case I will go to my edge, okay, or I'm gonna blend both diffuse, okay, this with another one, which is gonna be this diffuse down here, which will be this diffuse too, okay. So this will be, I would add something more like this, okay. I want something pretty rough, and in this case the base, I don't want to have that much metallic on it, so let's do something like this, right, something like this, which is not that much metallic, okay. And for the body, I'm gonna go to metallic, and I will add more metallic on it, okay. Just need to have something more like this, and this guy something more like that, okay. All right, all right. That's more or less what I want for these guys. Now let's go for the head. For the head, I'm gonna grab the same thing that I did for the base, these guys here, Control C, and then I'll go for the head, Control V, and I will add these guys down here. And so I have my head, the head of my lamp, which is a kind of combining both, right? But I want these guys to be in a different color, so I will add maybe reddish, okay, reddish, and this one will be reddish as well, but more red, okay, something like this, right? Something like this. What I'm not liking is this guy here, which doesn't look good for me. I will kind of smooth this guy out a bit more, and for the sake of my masks, I'm gonna scale them down, so I will have those more like this, and the blend between the masks will be something more like that, okay? That's more or less what I would have here, and then I'm going to the bump and I will reduce it. I will reduce the bump as much as I can, but the roughness will be a bit more. The specular will be based on these guys down here, okay, not that much specular, and the roughness I want something more like this, maybe, or no, or more something like this, right, with some coat, okay, something like that, okay. Something like this. This is good. What I maybe don't like is maybe this guy down here, which can be something like this, okay. And I want maybe to do something like that, okay, something like that, right? And yes, something like that. I will remove the coat completely and maybe go to the roughness, okay, and invert. Yeah, I may want to do something like this, okay. And for the specular, bring the specular down, very minimal, okay, something like this. This is okay to me, something like that, okay. So, and maybe the red, I don't want that much redness, maybe, you know, something that was more like this, and the brownish one will be something more like that, darker, and this one something like this, but also a little bit darker, okay. It's up to you guys, it's up to you, totally up to you. And yeah, that's okay, that's all good. And for the lamp we will just add emission, okay. That's something like this, right? Okay, but for the body I'm still not that much happy with this blackish. I also want to add some blending between diffuses. Okay, so blend between diffuse 2 1 and 2. So I will blend between them, go diffuse 2 and choose any color just to see the blend, how it goes. Okay, and in here I can change the blend and the scale of the blend, so I can see, right, and the blending control, so I can specify more or less, okay, what the diffuse 2 will be. And the diffuse 2, I can also play with the masks on the diffuse 2. Okay, it's something like this. So in this case I will add something like this, and now in the blending mode between both diffuse I will do something like this, right? So now I have something that makes more sense to be like that old. Okay, alright, and I also may want to have a bump which is inverted, right, and kind of a little bit more, can be something like this, right? Something like that. Okay, so now what we have to do, okay, now that's okay, we have these guys here. The only thing that we have to do now is go to baking. Okay, so we go to baking, and then we have simple bake here, the PBR. Okay, I will choose any texture here that I want. I will create a texture, okay, which is, it can be any texture. For example, image texture. It has to be the image texture, okay, and I will create a new texture, and in this case I'm gonna give the name Baked Maps or lamp. Okay, lamp, and I will do 2K. Okay, new image. Okay, that's the new image, right? So it's showing here just because it's the viewport. When I go to my viewport, it shows whatever I have selected. Okay, so but I have to select this guy and then go to my bake panel, the texture that I had created, the PBR, okay, and then I will bake the whole thing. Okay, but for to bake it, I will choose what I'm gonna bake. Okay, the bake objects, and then I will add my objects here, which is this guy. I will add the object. Okay, that's the object. And for the PBR bakes, I will choose the bakes that I'm gonna bake it here. Normal, transmission, what else? Emission, and what else? Yeah, that's normal. And specular, what else? Diffuse, roughness, metalness. Yeah, that's it. That's all good for now. And then I bake. Okay, so it shows here is baking all the textures. So 4 images baked. If I go to my UV editor and I go here to my lamp, I will have the bakes, all the bakes here. Okay, so this is the diffuse, this is the emission, okay, this is the bake metalness, okay, and this is the bake normals, okay, and this is the roughness, okay, and this is the specular, okay. So all the maps are here, and if, for example, I choose to replace all those materials, okay, add my shader here and remove all of these. Oh no, remove all the materials from this guy, okay, and I render that out. There will be nothing here, and I will create a different material, and I will bring all my textures, okay, texture, image texture, and I will choose this diffuse, and then this is the tallness, then this is normal, okay, and if I start to place this here, you will start to see the bake is here, okay. The normal, I need the normal map, of course. Put the texture here, the texture here. So the texture should be showing here as a normal map, but I need to be, of course, non-color, right? So that should be vector normal map, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's a normal map. If I crank it, I can see more. You see? I can see more of it. Okay. And I also have my specular, my roughness will be here, and my specular, which will be here, okay? Here, right? So that's my baked texture, and that is my original texture, okay? So this guy is pretty much ready to go to any render engine, okay? And you can have the setup down there, and in your render engine you can play around with the intensity of the normals and all, okay? Just like that. Okay, I would like to send this to Unreal Engine, maybe to see what's going on, okay, what we can do with that, okay. But for it, I will create another material, which can be the emission, the lamp, okay, and I will add this to this guy, just because I didn't bake properly the material, so the shader for this guy, so I want it to be kind of a different material in Unreal, okay. Let me save this like here in my desktop, in this folder. I'll save like this, and then I will external data. I will unpack the resources. So now I have my textures here. Okay, all my textures here, right? So if we go to, for example, Unreal Engine now, I didn't try this before, but I will do that just for the sake of this video. Okay, let's go to Unreal. I have some scenes in Unreal already. Mm. Okay, I will open this map here, which has some light already. Okay, so in this case I will just import here. I will create a folder just for the sake of this guy. I will import this. I will first export, of course. Oops. I will export this as a. I'll export as an FBX. Okay. In my desktop, new folder. I will export this in FBX lamp. And in the case here, I don't want none of those. I just want the mesh. Okay. And no animation, no armature, nothing. Okay. Export it. Okay. And now I'm gonna import that into Unreal. Import it. Go to my desktop, folder, lamp. Okay. It will ask me a bunch of things. Import textures. I will import all the textures. Oh shit! No, sorry. I exported not selected. I want to export just the selected objects. Okay, so now we're gonna import this to the game. Okay, and I want to have my textures, and I want to import materials as well, just in case. Okay, where's my lamp? Here is my lamp. It's compiling all the textures and all. Okay, if I bring my lamp here, let's scale this lamp up because I wasn't really worried about the scale. Oops. Let's scale this lamp up and see my materials here. Okay. It seems the material is working. Let me see if those are working well. So what is that? What is that? No, 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 no. I don't want none of these. And I want to import this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. Okay? Let's make it life easier and simpler. What is this? This is metalness. The metalness, go here to metallic shader. This guy is what? Is the specular. It goes to specular. Okay. This guy is normal. It goes to normal map. Okay. It goes to normal. And this guy is the diffuse. It goes to the diffuse. Base here, the diffuse. Okay. And this guy is what? The roughness. It goes to roughness, like this. Okay. So I think it's gonna be too rough, to be honest. But here we go. Yeah, that's my light. Okay, in Unreal, and you always can play around with the shader. And in here, if you understand about light, in here you can light it better and play around with the shader of the light. Let's see if the emissive material it casts any emission. Oh yeah, it's casting light here because it's lumen. Yeah, okay. So yeah, Yeah, that's it. That's how you can create objects in Blender and quickly kind of add in some nice texture, baking on it, and bring into your render engine as you want. Okay, so I will leave it, don't save it. Okay, let's go back to Blender. Our light is here. If you see, it's pretty similar of what you have imported in Unreal. Maybe the shaded doesn't reflect completely, but you know, choose your sunny light. It's kind of nice, right? Yeah. Hope you guys like it. If you guys like it, subscribe my channel. If you uh, if you wanna have more news about those tools that are not released yet because I didn't have time to put it all together on Blender Market or Gumroad, it will be soon, maybe this week. Okay, so thank you guys to be with me until now. I know it was a long tutorial, but you know, I was explaining that to you. If you are doing that by yourself, you would probably get there faster than this because I need to go speaking and talking and all of that. Okay, see you guys soon and take care. Bye bye.